So tell me about yourself. If there's one thing that makes us all a bit nervous, it's job interviews. Whether this is a job you've been looking for a while, you've been headhunted, or you're pitching for a new project-based contract. Grab your pen and paper because today we're looking how to answer the tell me about yourself question in a job interview, as well as how to talk about your qualifications and skills in professional English. Guys, I'm Nicola Limbe and welcome to Business English for Spanish speakers. Let's get cracking. Before we dive into today's episode, it's time for our comprehension question. So I'm going to ask you a question, the answer to which will be revealed during the episode. Today's question is, what are the 3 tips for answering the tell me about yourself question? Have a listen, and the answer will be revealed at the end of the episode. There are 3 factors I'm going to dive into today: what grammar you need, the vocabulary you need, and how to tackle this question in a confident manner. First things first, grammar. Not everyone's cup of tea, and you will certainly never hear me tell you to go and do a million grammar exercises. But of course, the basics of grammar are going to help you to be understood correctly. So if you struggle with, different present tenses and past tenses, I'd strongly recommend you do some work on that while preparing for your job interview in English. How might you do that? Well, you've got the traditional option, which is to go and do gap fill exercises. There are also tons of games and quizzes out there. If you type into Google word wall present tenses, you'll find tons of quizzes, and so it won't even feel like you're doing grammar exercises. They're gamified and really fun. Next up, vocabulary. I'm not going to go through a list of vocabulary here, but as you can imagine, you need to be able to talk about your qualifications, degrees, certificates, diplomas, and your skills, leadership, communication, working in a team. When talking about the former, qualifications, you can obviously use I have, but also I hold or am qualified to. For example, I have a medical degree. I hold a master's in finance, or I'm qualified to coach high performance athletes. When we're talking about skills, it's a great idea to include some powerful, emotive language in there. Rather than simply saying, I work well in a team, which is what everybody is going to say, you could say, I'm skilled at working in a team, or I'm capable of working very well in a team. Another example, rather than saying, I know how to use Adobe or Figma, you might say, I'm proficient in using Adobe or Figma. I have advanced skills in Adobe or Figma. Finally, I love the expression, I have a background in. It's so versatile that it's a must in your tell me about yourself answer. I have a background in Spanish labor law. I have a background in financial accounting for corporates. I have a background in digital marketing. There are obviously loads of options out there in terms of expressions you could use. So how do you choose? Choose the one that, when you say it out loud, sounds natural, sounds like you. This will increase your chances of remembering it and using it in your job interview when you're under pressure. We've got the grammar down. We know the vocabulary we want to use. It's time to tackle the question of the hour. Tell me about yourself. Apart from the technicalities of trying to use the correct grammar most of the time and trying to impress through your knowledge of vocabulary, I'm going to give you some tips to bear in mind when thinking about your answer to this question. First of all, it sounds like a personal question. It's not. This question is normally the first one asked. It's designed to help you feel relaxed and so that you open up to the interviewer. But remember, you're in a professional setting. You want this job. The interviewer does not want or need to know about your personal life. So regardless of how informal tell me about yourself sounds, try not to talk about your kids, your dog, your hobbies, unless they're really relevant to the job position. Stick to what you need them to know about your professional personality. Number 2, showcase your experience. This is your opportunity to talk about your previous roles, the responsibilities you took on and enjoyed and excelled at, projects you managed that were a success, and, general milestones that you've had in your working life. Make sure to use specific examples from your career to back up those statements. Last but not least, show off your social skills. They're not just looking for you to regurgitate what's already in your CV. They want you to explain any relevant social skills that you have. So this might be working in a team, leadership roles you've taken on, communication challenges you've overcome, and maybe even times that you've collaborated with others, both internally in the team, maybe in other departments, but also externally with external stakeholders. So what might this look like in a real job interview? Let's see an example. I'm Nicola, and I'm a senior project manager. I have 10 years of experience in the software as a service industry for human resources departments. In my previous role at Super Software Company, I was responsible for leading projects to roll out changes to HR systems, such as payroll, performance tracking, and talent management. I'm particularly proud of my excellent track record for delivering projects on time and on budget. I'm a strong team player and enjoy working in a collaborative, time-sensitive environment. Remember, the tell me about yourself question is an opportunity to introduce yourself and highlight your skills and your qualifications. By keeping it professional, focusing on your experience, and showing off those hard-earned skills, you'll be well on your way to making a fantastic impression. So, let's answer today's comprehension question. Today's question was, what are the 3 tips for answering the tell me about yourself question? Did you get it? Can you remember all 3? So, they were number 1, keep it professional or don't make it personal. Number 2, showcase your experience. And number 3, showcase your skills. How did you do? If you did great, fantastic. Give yourself a pat on the back to celebrate. If you didn't do so well, my advice would be to download the transcript to this episode, which is available in the episode description, and listen again while reading. See if you can find the answers that way. This will help your English listening skills too. That's it for today, folks. I'm Nicola Linde, founder of Teacher Nicola and host of Business English for Spanish speakers. See you next time. Onwards and upwards.